This thing on? Mic check. I just want to make sure y'all can hear me clearly. Yeah. Should you practice art? Or should art be your practice? I had a question, so I asked it. Not to anyone specifically, but to my inner God, you know? The one that's gonna be a master. The one that's more than a rapper. The one that's an educator. The one that seeks enlightenment. He travels with concepts. He's got the mindset expansive. He understands that his time combined with travel and concepts makes his mind convex. Sort of like when you look at a brain scan.
Reggie here, and I want to welcome you to another one of my videos. Technically, this is a live stream. It is called Comics Today, and it is a show that we do every single Wednesday when my schedule permits to celebrate the best day of the week, that being New Comic Book Day. And as part of this show, we typically talk about news and current events, things that are top of mind for me and might also be top of mind for you. We have a guest or two on that will help us to make sense of something that is happening in the world of comics and collectibles. And tonight we are going to dig into several topics. We're going to talk a little bit about a giveaway. We're going to talk about a TV show that I'm watching, some casting rumors that are circulating out there, some changes that have been made by CGC, and just whatever other random stuff pops into my head. I did not make it to an LCS today, but I was at an LCS or three last week and picked up some cool stuff that I will show you guys in a video coming up. In just a couple of minutes, I'm going to go to the chat, because if you made it to your LCS and you picked up some good stuff, I want to know what it is that you picked up. Shout out your LCS. If you've read something today that is really good that we should put on the top of our reading stacks, I want to know what that book or those books are. If you picked up a book that is not a new book, but it is new to you, shout that out as well so that we can live vicariously through your spending of money. With that said, I do want to acknowledge one of the sponsors of the channel. They are doing a giveaway that I want you guys to know about, because I've seen one of the prizes and it is not bad. Let me tell you that it is a book that I have in the collection, but I think that folks would be pleased to be able to add that one. The sponsor that I'm talking about is comicspriceguide.com. They are doing a giveaway. They're doing a giveaway for when they reach 1.2 million books in their database, and they are currently sitting at 1.198. So they are estimating in about 2 to 3 weeks that they are going to break that $1.2 million thresholds for books that are contained in a database. And to celebrate that accomplishment, to celebrate that milestone, they're going to be giving away some stuff to you. They're going to be giving away a 1-year gold membership, a Batman black and white statue, the White Knight, a copy of Spider-Man issue #1 from Mr. Todd McFarlane, and also a graded Superman book that is, a graded Spider-Man book that is valued at more than $200. And that is the book that they sent me a picture of. It is a pretty nice book. And again, all prizes that will be made available to folks. They're going to announce the winners. And like I said, 2 to 3 weeks. All you have to do to get into the running is head over to comicspriceguide.com. When you get to the page that you're looking at here, there should be a pop-up that comes up. The pop-up is an offer to sign up for their newsletter. You sign up for the newsletter, and that basically puts you in the running to win one of these great prizes that they're going to be giving away in just a couple of weeks. And I do believe that they're also going to be sending out a survey tomorrow, to those people that have signed up for the newsletter. And by completing the survey, you also have a chance at getting a bonus prize. So there will be one additional prize that at least I'm aware of that they're going to be giving away. And again, all you have to do is to sign up for the newsletter for an opportunity to get some free stuff, man. And who amongst us does not like free stuff? Shout out to comicspriceguide.com. One of the great things I like about that site is the fact that that database is so large. It is a massive database. And sometimes when I can't find something, When I don't know what something is, I go there. And because their database is so large, oftentimes I'm able to locate the very thing that might be a little obscure. And so it's a great resource, not just for pricing information, but as a reference thing as well. So let me go to the chat real quick, see what it is that you guys may have picked up. And again, if you made it out to your LCS, let me know what it is that you picked up, and let me know about your LCS as well. Jose, what is that? He says, gotta okay, I'm reading the part of a conversation. Mark is in here. How you doing, my Canadian brother? The Mighty Barbarians. What is that? Plan 59 from Outer Space. War Part. What are these books? What are these books? I recognize Punisher. And a new to him book, he got Batman and Robin issue number 234. You gotta love Mark and Chuck and some of these guys that just have really eclectic taste in comics. I think that it is fantastic. I really do think that it's fantastic. I give them a hard time, but just about having a little bit of fun. So scrolling through some of the comments here, neighbor Neil's here. I went by and paid neighbor Neil a visit earlier today. It is good to see you here in the chat. And the OG of OGs, the Blue Wrench, Tina, is welcoming you to the chat. Steve, it's good to see you, brother. Welcome. Scrolling through some of the comments, seeing what it is that you guys, my computer's in the wrong place, seeing what it is you guys may have picked up at your LCSs today. There's someone say free stuff. Yeah, man, a couple of free things. So again, for those folks that came in a little late, my folks over at comicspriceguide.com are going to be giving away some free stuff. They're going to be giving away, what did I say? Spider-Man issue number 1, a graded Spider-Man book valued at over $200, a 1-year gold membership to comicspriceguide.com, and also a Batman black and white statue simply for signing up for their newsletter. Doesn't cost you anything. You sign up and you have a chance of getting some free stuff. So there you go. I don't know what your odds are. But definitely some good stuff. Herman, how you doing, brother? It is good to see you, my friend. Welcome, welcome. Scrolling through, maybe I will see you at Heroes Con coming up. I think it's in May, right? Maybe I'll see you for Heroes Con. Scrolling through, finish my Deceased run today with issue number 8. The Hero Trade from Bad Idea is a really fun to read. I've seen that book, but I do not have that one, Jason. Congrats to you on completing that run, and also I guess you picked up that Hero Trade as well. So Herman says, I picked up a beautiful 1 in 10 virgin copy of The Expanse Dragon Tooth. That's what's up. I have a video coming out soon talking about ratio variance and sense of variance. Should be a good video. At least I hope that it's a good video that people will watch. Scrolling through, seeing what else you guys are talking about, what you picked up. Scrolling through Comic Confidence. I am going to ask you, do me a favor. If you appreciate me like you say that you do, and I don't doubt it, I'm going to need you to drop one of those G's. Just a single G. Just a single G. Scrolling through some of the comments, recently picked up some early bronze Thor, specifically issue number 182 and 183, the battle between Thor and Victor Von Doom. That's what's up. And for New Comic Book Day, he picked up the Thanos Alex Ross cover and also Captain America Unforgiven 1. That's what's up. Cool books, man. I saw those Alex Ross villain books in person for the first time while I was in Arizona. Couple of really cool covers, no doubt. Brendan picked up several Daredevil keys, including issue 5-8, which is the first Stiltman issue number 138, the first Bullseye. Those are all good books. Those are all good books, no doubt about it. I've seen that Stiltman book a couple of times. I want to say I just actually saw it recently while I was in Arizona in one of the shops. I did not pick it up. I did enough damage in this one shop that I just left out of there with a couple of books. I left Stiltman behind. I want to say I've actually seen that one in the wild maybe three times. Scrolling through for all those folks that are spelling my name incorrectly, you get one free pass. After that, the OG comes after you. Grabbed a 4-color with Donald Duck and older little Lulu, Avengers issue number 128, She-Hulk Static 2, and 3. That's what's up. Chuck is on the board. Chuck is on the board with some good stuff. Scrolling through, seeing what else you guys may have picked up. The Drifter, how you doing, brother? It is good. The Drifter comes in with the correct spelling. Always appreciated. Always appreciated. It was a light one for a Liger style. Picked up some unknown dollar keys this past Friday. That's what's up. Good stuff. Scrolling through. All right. So I will tell you guys, while you guys continue to file here into the room, this email came to my inbox, and I will tell you that I cannot wait to watch this. I cannot wait to watch I think it's the season finale of The Mandalorian. This continues to be one of my favorite shows. I am not a Star Wars fan, not in any way, shape, or form, but The Mandalorian, oh my, it is good. The Mandalorian is good. If you have not watched it, treat yourself, because I will absolutely be treating myself tonight watching this season finale. I absolutely love this show. I also watched Star Trek. What is it? Strange New Worlds or something like that. If you guys haven't seen that, sweet Christmas. That Star Trek show featuring Captain Pike is just incredible. It really is. Madam, we're going to send some people to see you. We're going to send some people to see you with the double G's. With the double G's, we don't do the double G's. Scrolling through Liger's house. You know, Snowfall, I have not seen this. I've seen a couple of people talking about it, but I have not seen it. Brother, you won't get spoilers from me. You won't get a single spoiler from me. I would not do you dirty like that. I like you, Philtastic, so I wouldn't do you dirty, brother. Ooh, you see it, Philtastic. You see it over there. Philtastic. You see it back there. Brother, I can't respond to this because we have established that Regie is spelled with one G. It is a single G, not to be duplicated. Scrolling through some of the comments here. He's asking about, what do I think about, in what way? Star Wars 68, the first appearance of Mandalorian and Mandalore. What do I think about it? You have to be more specific than that, sir. You have to provide me with a little bit of additional context. I've heard season 3 is really good. I will tell you that I had a similar feeling when I was watching Star Trek Strange New Worlds. I think it was like episode 1. It made me stop and pause and think about how I was behaving in some respects. To your point, the great thing about that show historically is that it has these wonderful moral lessons woven into the story that is not hitting you over the head with the morality of it, but it's there. And if you pay attention, you're like, oh, there was a lesson there. Or you could just see pure entertainment. I will tell you, Strange New Worlds kind of slipped over the edge just a little bit. It was a little bit too much in your face, at least for like one episode. I had to scurry through that episode. But generally speaking, the Star Wars, the Star Trek stuff is just really incredible. It's really well done. So scrolling through, it's Mark he's spacing it out to help folks out. Regie all day. It's Reginald. If you prefer Reginald, I will accept that. That too also has one G. It also only has a singular G. So one other little tidbit here, and then we're going to get to our first guest. There was a casting rumor that was circulating earlier today. I don't know what that pop-up is. Let me get rid of that before I pull this up. But there was a casting rumor that was circulating around. Multiple news outlets were reporting that Adam Driver from Star Wars is in talks. He's in the final, I guess, round of talks to actually join the MCU as Reed Richards. And I put this up on Instagram. I put it up here on YouTube. And it was like a mixed bag. It was a mixed bag of people that thought that this was good and those that just thought it was the worst idea ever. I said someone call his hair salad, said his salad needs to be trimmed back off the top of his head. But there was like, it's like a mixed bag with people giving feedback on him. I'll tell you, at the end of the day, I don't really care who you pick. I'm not very good with picking actors. I don't really know actors' names all that well. Tell a good story. Tell me a good story that entertains me, and you can cast whoever you want to cast. No named people does not matter. Tell a good story. Set it up so that you can tell multiple good stories over time. And I think that's part of what this is. Young guy, they can do a 10-year run with this young guy versus somebody that might be a little bit older, even though Reed Richards is older. So, you know, it's going to be a balancing act. I mean, you can throw some gray in his hair to age him up. And I think it could still work, but it's going to be interesting. So I will tell you that the rumors around this guy, Adam, being in the running for Reed Richards have been circulating for quite some time, but the confirmations for today, the confirmations from today that are being widely reported on are all coming from a scooper. It's all coming from a scooper. None of this is official. None of this is confirmed. But when I start to see multiple news outlets actually picking this up and repeating it, then I start to kind of buy into, okay, maybe this is a real thing. At the end of the day, we will see how this all plays out. It could all be fictitious. But oftentimes these scoopers are very accurate in what they say. I will also highlight that his name has been circulating around this movie for a couple of years now. People thought that he was going to be Victor Von Doom, but it appears that he might actually be Reed Richards. So we will see how this will play out. Carlos is like, not a fan. Hope it's just a it is all good. At the end of the day, what is that gray in his hair? Not mine or red breath. Come on now. You know I don't have hair on my head. You know I don't have any hair on my head. Anyway, Marvel is usually spot on with their casting. You know, I had somebody commented earlier. They were basically like, the MCU is basically taking a nosedive. It's all trash. And so it only stands to reason that the casting becomes trash as well. There is generally at the moment just so much negativity that it becomes just, some days are tough. And you guys know this. You're on social media just like I am. You're reading the comments, you're interacting with people. Sometimes some days social media can be tough. There is no doubt about that. But we are going to turn a corner. We are going to turn a corner and we are going to talk about some positive stuff. We're going to talk about a deal that has been made. And I want to welcome to the show a guy that's been on the show once before, guy that I've seen in person. And I am somewhat envious. I am somewhat envious of his hair follicles. I want to welcome to the show Sebastian Jones, who is the president of Stranger Comics. Sebastian, it is good to see you.
Hey, Reggie, how are you doing? Thanks so much for having me.
It is my pleasure, Sebastian. How do you get the hair so high, sir?
It's like, kind of a get out of bed and hope for the best kind of hairstyle. You know, just roll out of bed and, let the madness ensue. Not a lot of grooming goes on at Stranger Comics, to be honest.
Hence the name, maybe that's why it's so strange, because you just, you don't make the magic happen with the hair. You make the magic happen with the comics.
That's very kind of you. I just realized my Samsung thing is just floating around the TV. I didn't realize I turned it off. I haven't turned it off. I appreciate it.
All good, brother. It is good to see you. Sebastian, you recently, not you personally, but Stranger Comics recently sent out a press release.
Right.
And in this press release, you spoke about a return of sorts. Can you talk a little bit about what this press release was about? And more importantly, why what was in the press release is so pivotal for you as an indie publisher.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Reggie. And hey, everybody in the chat. Nice to meet you. If you guys don't know me, my name's Seb, and I run Stranger Comics, as Reggie was saying. We first came out with the first issue of the very first comic we did, The Untamed, in 2009, but never hit comic shops. So kind of an interesting reality was around that time in 2009. And most folks might know us because we do the Niobe comics. That's a little bit of what she looks like if you haven't seen it. Thank you, Matt Woods. Amazing head of hair. I appreciate it. But we did kind of we hit up every comic book shop we could. And the reason why that's so important and why it's important for us now is when you're an independent comic shop or an indie retailer, a mom and pop shop, there's only so much space or room within their shop, within their store. And for them to take a risk on a title they might not have heard of before, they might not order any of an independent publisher, comic book company's titles.
Yep.
So a lot of times what happens is we have a drop, a comic company has a drop, a publishing company has a drop, and they tell their fans to go to the local comic book shop, support their retailers always. And they get in there and they say, I'm here to order comic book X. And they go, well, we don't have any. And they'll say, well, can you order it? And they'll say, no, because final order cutoff has already been done.
Yep.
And unless you're kind of those faux indies, I would say, where they're still Silicon Valley funded and they're not really indie, they're nicely propped up and they've got the cash pockets and the relationships they've built, or the right kind of editor-in-chiefs and all these kind of various things that kind of drive that big ocean line of business model from publisher to retailer intact. You will not find, or you will rarely find, I would say, because shout out to those retailers that support us and other indies, you will rarely find an indie title that is in stores upon drop.
Yep.
So what we always encourage for our fans, and if you want to stay in the loop of what we do, we encourage readers, folks that you might have seen at a comic convention or folks that you follow online on Instagram or Kickstarters or whatever, to pre-order your independent comic at a local store to A, ensure that the store will have it, and B, it might educate your local retailer on a new title that they might not have read before and go, oh, this is actually pretty good.
Yep.
Let me now get into more of their world and actually start promoting it on that behalf, just on the love of the story and the art. And what you were saying, Reggie, earlier, I couldn't agree more. The story is the most important thing.
So the press release that you all sent out, what was the subject of the press release that was sent out, right? It was to make people aware of you all signing a deal. Yes.
Yeah. So basically we had gone through Diamond at different facets and phases of our publishing life. And essentially in 2009, the last book that we put out actually was the trade paperback of Niobe Shear's death, this one here.
Mm-hmm.
And then pandemic happened and we shifted back into the different kind of model of online auctions, online events on Instagram, Kickstarters. During that phase, be in the lab, create more content. So it's really, really important for us to let our kind of fan base know, let retailers know we're coming back in stores in a really, really big way with, and doing some beautiful stuff like having David Mack 1 in 25 ratio variants. David Mack likes putting me on the cover. Look, there I am. Holy shit. Look at that.
It's the magic of the internet. So during the pandemic, you guys basically you were being distributed at some point via Diamond. During
Absolutely.
the pandemic, you unrung the veil, right? And you shifted the model to basically be back on Instagram. And I used to see your Instagram lives like every single week. You were promoting it. I saw you at a con promoting all of your titles. But now that the pandemic has subsided, it appears that you are now saying, hey, let's go back to Diamond. Let's now put our comics back into previews magazines and put it back into local comic shops. Is that a fair statement for me to make?
I think so. I think we still will honor our Kickstarter type folks, because what's the interesting thing, Reggie, is what I found is there are some people that will only support on Kickstarter. There are some people also that don't have they might be disabled and they can't actually physically make it to a local comic book shop, or they like ordering on eBay, or they like ordering through Patreon. They like ordering in different ways. And the one thing I've learned in doing multiple Kickstarters is, and multiple live stream events, kind of like how you interact with your crew here, is people like to buy from you directly and feel like it's like establishing an intimate relationship.
Yep.
From the story to the context of how you convey your stories. So we find that now it's kind of like, still do Kickstarter, but if I can have that store relationship, and for a lot of fans, a lot of people that are used to just wanting to support their local as well, and only trust their local, it becomes an extra validation point. Like, oh, I even saw one YouTube channel be like, well, Stranger Comics, they do great comics, but they're not a real publishing company because they're not in my local comic shop. And I was like, I don't know. We've got like
real books.
We got books,
brother.
They're real.
I've seen you at a con. Like, your display and turnout at a con is impressive. I mean, the booth setup, the cosplay that you had, the people that were working there, the inventory, it was amazing. So for somebody to say that you're not a real publisher because you're not in the LCS,
right?
That's more. I mean, I'll call it what it is. It's nonsense.
Yeah,
right? How
is.
many publishers have we seen that are in LCSs that go out of business?
Well, that's the reality.
Or that are in LCSs and not pulling out quality books with great covers and great stories, right? Yeah. So just because you're in an LCS or not does not mean a lot, right? I mean, the covers that you put out are gorgeous. There is no doubt about that. So I find it interesting that people have those points of view. But also in the press release, you made mention of a brand new issue #1 that is going to be offered up in previews coming up. Do you want to talk a little bit about Tales?
Tales of Asunda, thank you so much. Yeah, so the David Mack is the 1:25 ratio variant. This is the Kanan White cover of Niobe. This particular story, and actually, it's interesting you mentioned that, because Niobe and the Stranger, those two characters, are first introduced in the Untamed trade paperbacks. And this story is actually a one-shot. It's going to be a series of one-shots to kind of give you can have any kind of little entry point into the world of Asunda. This particular one is of Niobe's first kill. And Niobe, for folks that don't know, she's kind of, I guess, the Luke Skywalker, if you will, of our entire universe. And here's the crazy little Star Wars tie-in there. Amandla Stenberg, who co-wrote the original Niobe Shear's life with me, is going to be the acolyte of the new Star Wars franchise. So this story, Tales of Asunda, is of Niobe's first kill. It's essentially as her armor of innocence is chipped away and life isn't so black and white, she's going to have to rest. It starts off essentially with her older and in the future, and she's just essentially defeated an army. And one of her captors has said, she's about to execute him. And he's like, when did killing get to be so easy? And she says, I don't know. When did it? And you can't just get a pass because you've raped and killed and pillaged my tribes and so on. And now you're like, oh, time out. I've surrendered. So they have this moral dilemma. And she goes back into the past of when she had to kill somebody for the first time, and killing shouldn't be so easy. And so what I try and do with this story is, when we go back to the present day, we allow the reader to go into Niobe's shoes and see, would you now follow through with it? So I like playing with a lot of those kind of moral dilemmas and stories and those types of things. But it all starts, story starts in the Untamed right here. This is where it all kind of begins.
Yep.
So this is 2009. Peter Bergting, who does Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings. And the crazy thing is, our exclusive cover artist is Hyung, the He is the lead designer for The Last of Us video game and TV show. And he did this when he was still in college.
That's cool.
Years and years and years and years ago.
What were you saying about established relationships? Like, it sounds like you have some pretty established and solid relationships with the connections that you just mentioned there as well.
Thank you. Yeah, it's just been an incredible journey. And for Steve White, how do you get those books? Go to strangercomics.com or your local retailer, but strangercomics.com. Yeah, it's just a happy look. You see me at conventions, Reggie. I'm not a shy person, so if I saw Amanda at a book festival for our kids' books, and I ran up to her, was like, "You got to be an Niobe." Take a picture. Okay, now you're in. And she's like, "All right, crazy person, what's this about?" She read The Untamed, fell in love with the story. Viola Davis, I had a meeting nearby, and I actually pretended to be a little lost and stumbled into her office, and I gave her their cut. It's like, "Oh, is so-and-so nearby?" They're like, "Oh, what's that book? Oh, let me leave it with you." Anyway, she ended up, Viola Davis did the forward and the hardcover.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, the forward and the hardcover of Niobe, and now Tuso Embedo of the Woman King and Underground Railroad is writing the new Niobe comic. But that's all, it comes back to what you were saying earlier. These books stand on their own merits, celebrity or no.
Yes.
But yes. I think that when we're fans of a movie, like when we had Amanda in our booth at New York Comic Con in 2015, we had lines of people ready for her to sign the first issue of Niobe. It was an emotional connection that they had with her in the Hunger Games. She's like, "Oh my God, when you died as Rue, I felt this, you felt this." I think the celebrity relationship hits an emotional key point. And so when I try and work with celebrities like Viola or Amanda or Tuso now, and some other wonderful folks, it has to be the right person. It's not just because I've been offered a few folks. I'm like, I'm good. They just, it has to fit within the spirit of the story, and they have to also fall in love with the story.
It has to be authentic. It has to be authentic, or it's not going to work. That's just the way that it is. So one thing I also want to talk about is that we just looked at 4 just fantastic covers for your new title. You hit on the fact that you're going to be bifurcated, if you will, between Kickstarter and Diamond distribution.
Yes.
Do you have to go one path or the other in order to get the 4 covers, or will all 4 be available regardless of the path that someone pursues?
That's a great question. So for collectors, for Kickstarter, because people are wanting to essentially get exclusives, on Kickstarter, there will be exclusives only available for Kickstarter backers.
Okay.
We have a Silver Surfer 4 homage that just came in. You can get on the cover with us. We've got other David Matt. Oh, look, I can show you this. We have this came in. Here's the original art by Jay Lee. There you go.
Oh, check that out. Check that out.
Original Jay Lee stuff. So that will be on our Kickstarter as well. There'll be exclusives there. But if you missed stuff, we'll have the opportunity for people on Kick to get some of those other covers. There'll be variant editions of those. We'll have some more hip-hop homages. We're kind of known for doing.
That's cool.
Hip-hop homages. This is a metal version of Outcast. We do a lot of Sailor Moon stuff. We do a lot of fun homages for different video. We have a Mario video game homage that came out a couple of years ago. Now that's going wild because of the movie and Zelda and all sorts of fun stuff. We broke a new artist who's now huge, doing new DC stuff, did heavy metal, Tahani Farr.
Oh, check that out.
So we have
check that out.
Beautifully painted.
I don't even want to know what your production costs are. Because
thank you.
And don't tell me. I don't want to
know.
That's not cheap, sir. I talk to a printer often. That is not cheap, sir. Not at all. But it is gorgeous.
Thank you.
That's cool, man.
I believe like there are 3 different types of people that read material, right? You have your reader, you have your collector, and you have your speculator. And now I didn't read, when I got into this, I had no clue about that was even a thing, speculation. I just wanted to tell my stories. But I believe what you have to kind of honor are the three types. And even if someone is a speculator, I want them to fall in love with what they're speculating, because that is a risk. Even we did a big HBO deal a few years ago, and things suddenly, people were just buying our stuff like crazy. I still want to honor the story, honor the craft of storytelling within comics. We didn't make this stuff for it to be on TV or film. We made this stuff because we want to tell the best comic we have, not this quick kind of like, oh, that's a quick hashtag. Ooh, black comics are hot right now. Let's quickly do that.
Or let me do a screenplay in the form of a graphic novel so that I can get this option, right? That's one of the that's one
100%.
of the complaints that you get, right?
100%.
The lack of substance, the lack of good storytelling, the lack of quality art. And that does not seem to be the case with Stranger Comics, which I think is fantastic. And again, it just flies in the face of this person saying that Stranger Comics isn't a real publisher because you're not an LCS. As you look at the quality of what it is that you all put out, and it really is impressive. I will say congratulations on striking the deal with Diamond.
Thank you.
Congratulations on putting your books back in LCSs.
Thank you.
But then also finding this wonderful marriage, if you will, between the Kickstarter world and the traditional world, because I think that is one of the good things that kind of came out of the pandemic, is that people have to recognize that you don't just have to do traditional distribution.
100%.
There are other ways to make the magic happen. And I spoke to another president, CEO of a publishing house, and he said, if I could do it all over again, I would do all Kickstarter, because he saw the power of Kickstarter during the pandemic. You know, he hasn't created this marriage like you have, but people recognize that Kickstarter and crowdfunding is legit.
Well, I think the beautiful thing with Kickstarter, like I support a lot of Kickstarters, not necessarily for the material, but the person I can see. If they have the, I like supporting the person and seeing that can I, in the same way the celebrity, it's more of like, can I have a connection with that person behind the curtain? I see how vulnerable they might be, how difficult it is to make a comic. A lot of folks might not realize, you know, I've slept in my car for this stuff. I've been through a real trial to get to where we're at now. So if I see somebody else kind of, you know, daring to, you know, step into the spotlight and share their journey and share their story, I'm like, you know what, I'll rock with them. Let me see what they are telling me, and let me see also organically how they want to tell their story through these comics and how I might relate to them on a human level.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Sebastian, how can people support what you are doing over there? Do you want to shout out the social media? Let people know where they can access the books. I'm going to put the links in the description of the video after I record this.
Lovely. Perfect.
But if you want to shout some things out, I want to give you that opportunity as well.
Thank you so much. If you don't mind, Reggie, can I give people, if for folks that don't know, can I give people the pitch on the Untamed so they might
go for it? Get after it, brother.
Okay, here we go.
Because the Untamed, is this the graphic novel that you're also distributing via Diamond?
100%. You can get this on strangercomics.com. You can get it at your LCS. You can pre-order the Untamed right now. Get into Niobe's World of Asunda. And I will state that when we did Niobe with Amandla, we didn't do this to make history, but this became the first nationally distributed comic book with a Black female author, artist, and hero in the history of entertainment. So there's a piece of history when you get Niobe, or if you find Niobe issue 1, that's a piece of history. Her introduction is in the story of the Untamed. So here we go. This is the story of the Untamed for you folks. The question is, would you damn your family to save the world? This is a story about a man who's stuck in purgatory. And after 10 years, the devil comes along. He says, I'll give you 7 days to reap the 7 souls that murdered you and your family. He says, sign me up. He takes a drifter's return to a one-horse town in a huge world. Now, as his memory comes back in broken shards, he realizes when he was alive, he was a bad man, and maybe he deserved to die. But now he's on a path to save his family. On his path of vengeance to save their soul, he meets a little elven girl called Niobe. And she reminds him of how old his murdered daughter would have been, giving this man a second chance to be a good man, a father. He only has 7 days. The kicker, what if she's one of the 7 souls he has to collect?
Mm.
And the devil set the whole thing up just to find her.
Mm.
Would you damn your family to save the world, or would you damn the world to save your family? Because if Niobe can stay alive in this book, we spent nearly 10 years painting 7 days, 7 souls, 7 issues. If you like Clint Eastwood spaghetti westerns set in a fantasy world,
that is gorgeous.
Thank you. If Niobe can stay alive in the Untamed, she will grow up to become, let's see, our entire fantasy franchises. Luke Skywalker, the face of our franchise. There she is.
I think you may have picked up a customer. That was a great pitch.
Thank you.
Does it have to be the immediate family? Like, that's a legitimate question. Like, what kind of family are we talking about? Distant cousins?
His wife and child.
No, yeah. I can tell you right now, there is no way that Philtastic is going to sign up for that. Wife and child, absolutely not. That won't fly. But wonderful pitch, brother. I absolutely appreciate it. But again, strangercomics.com is the best place for people to go.
Yeah, and then folks, what I'll do too, I'll just have a quick sub here. If you want to join, we have StrangerCon, our online convention drops May 13th when we launch Kickstarter. So subscribe to Stranger Comics, at Stranger Comics on all social media, Facebook, Instagram, the tweeters, now on TikTok, God help me, you know,
all
the things.
I can't do the TikTok. I had to back off of TikTok.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. But yeah, strangercomics.com, at Stranger Comics on the socials. Go to your LCS. If you go to strangercomics.com, you'll actually see where you can. Thank you so much, Philtastic. Thank you. I appreciate that, guys. I really, really do. Because the story does continue. This is a Beauty and the Beast love story, threaded with murder and mystery, about a young girl returning to her ancestors to find her faith. Different art style, but equally as beautiful.
That's crazy.
And I'll show you one other kind of thing. This is pretty stunning. This is when Niobe Shear's death becomes a badass bounty hunter hunting down sex traffickers and slave traders.
That is gorgeous. That is fantastic. That's crazy.
So when folks go, hey, you're not an LCS, you don't make real comics, I go, yeah, sure. All right.
Just show them that art, brother. Skeleton Key walked up to me at a con and she was like, I have something for you. She gave me the covers that I think she did with you.
Oh,
as like a gift. Those are in a bin across the room from me. Just gorgeous art. Sebastian, thank you for coming on, brother. Thank you for sharing your journey with us. And again, congratulations on being back in LCSs through Diamond Distribution.
Thanks so much, Reggie. Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate you guys. Thanks, Reggie.
And it froze up at the very end. How about that? We made it through the whole conversation and it froze up at the very end. If that's where it's going to happen, that is the best thing. No doubt about it. Sebastian is fantastic. I met him at a con. Don't ask me which state did we happen to be in, but what you saw here is exactly what he's like in person. No doubt about it. Just an awesome guy. I wish him nothing but success. And as you all know, being an indie publisher is not an easy thing in any way, shape, or form. So support him if you can. I will put the links in the description of the video for you guys to be able to check that stuff out. All right. So let's go ahead and make a pivot. We are going to make another pivot to talk about the other big news of the week, the fact that CGC has raised its prices. And I spoke about this both on Instagram and also on YouTube. I shared this news, I think, shortly after it actually came out. One of the changes that they're making is that CCS is going away, and now CCS is now CGC pressing. So no real change there other than streamlining their operations. I think the other big changes are really with the tiers, with the number of tiers that they have, and then also for the prices that they are charging for the various tiers. And you're able to see some of this stuff here on screen. The modern tier fee has increased from $24 to now $25. The economy tier has changed its name to the vintage tier, and it is increasing from $35 to $37. The standard tier is now called high value, and that fee has gone up from $80 to $85. The express tier has been deleted. That tier is no longer available. It's basically been merged, if you will, into what was known as the walkthrough tier, but is now called the unlimited value. And with the unlimited value, they basically are charging not 3% of the value, but now 4% of the value, or a minimum of $150. The other thing I will point out here is that I think the high value tier actually goes up to $1,000. That is the limit for that one. I do believe is $1,000. So those are some of the changes. I will tell you the change that I am most excited about is this one. You can now do a pre-screen for $9 versus $8 if the book gets rejected, but there's no minimum. Before, I think it was a 15 book minimum, then it was a 25 book minimum, and I can tell you that that was a backbreaker. Trying to find 25 books at the same level to send in is a backbreaker. They have removed the minimum. I think that that is fantastic. The other big change that they put in that I'm excited about is the fact that you can now do yellow labels. You can submit yellow labels and also have those be pre-screened. As somebody that sends in signed books, I can tell you for a fact that it never made sense that you could send in books for a blue label and have a pre-screen. You could send in the exact same book signed and not get a pre-screen. They now offer pre-screen on the yellow label side. And again, only for $9. I think that that is wonderful. People generally are losing their minds about this price increase that CGC has actually taken. There is a lot of negativity out there right now. A lot of folks are really upset the fact that CGC has taken this price increase. They've said that CGC is going to go out of business, that CBCS is going to step up and basically dominate now as a result. I don't think that those people actually took the time to look at the prices for CBCS, because if they had, what they would realize that in some cases CBCS is actually more expensive than CGC. CBCS also took a price increase recently, but in some cases CGC is indeed more expensive. I had a conversation with somebody earlier today that was outraged. They were outraged that CGC would have take 4% or $150 to grade a book. And so I asked the person, hey, how many, $1,000 books are you planning to send in? Well, none. I'm not sending any in. So why are you upset that they are charging $150 and you don't even submit books that are valued at $1,000? It's really interesting how people have responded to this. At the end of the day, people feel the way that they feel. But sometimes if you dig a little bit deeper, what you realize is that people are upset for the sake of being upset, not because it directly impacts them in any way, shape, or form, right? I will tell you, the other part of this is that people have been saying for years that people are grading too many comics. They're grading worthless comics. By raising the prices, potentially what will happen is less important books will get graded, which means that potentially turnaround times will continue to be as favorable as they are. At least that is the hope. The big thing here is that they have taken a price increase for whatever reason. I had somebody say that the minimum wage has been increased in Florida as a result of them having to pay more for their employees. They needed to raise prices. I don't know the answers to any of this stuff. The great thing is that we still have options. We have EGS, we have PGX, we have CBCS, and we have CGC. We have options. Isn't it wonderful? Isn't it wonderful to actually have options? That is, for me, the more important thing. If you don't want to use CGC, don't use them. Don't use them. Find somebody else that will float your boat. Scrolling through 100% agree pre-screen change is the only, yeah. Again, I don't want to pay any more money than I have to. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I have a stack of books across the room that I've been staring at for like 2 weeks off and on, trying to figure out whether I can find 25 books to send in to get a pre-screen. And so this news came out and I was like, man, that is amazing. Sign me up for not having a 25 minimum submission. Sign me up. There you go. There you go. I mean, no one likes it. Let's be completely honest. No one likes price increases, but we all like raises, right? We all like to see our salaries go up. Where do you think that the money comes from for us to get more money to buy more comics? It comes from the company's paying us, but the company raises its prices. Well, whatever company you work for, they raise the price, they pass that on to your customers in order to give you a raise. And I'll tell you, I like my merit increase every single year. Every single year. I love it. Scrolling through. Oh man, we did a good wall back there, didn't we? We did a good wall. A lot of people have been commenting on the quality of the wall. As you all know, my focus was initially on ASM completing that run. Then it was Amazing Fantasy. Then it was getting what I consider to be really outstanding Silver Age Marvel books. And then from there, it became a little bit of a focus on trying to go after some quality DC books. And I am vacillating right now between a modern book that I've wanted for a very, very long time at a 9.8 and a really amazing DC Silver Age key that I also have wanted. They are roughly the same price and I cannot get both, but I might try to get both. What is that? Well, I'm not really talking about the graders, brother. I'm not really talking about the, and again, what I said here is that is one theory that has been floated out there. That's one theory that's been floated, was that it was the minimum wage. I do believe that CGC employs more than 300 people. So if you have to go and start paying people $15 an hour for the folks that open up the comics, that unbox the comics, that pack the boxes at the end of the process, yeah, you're going to find a way to pass that on, right? And I'll tell you, I help run a $45 million piece of business and I raise prices every single year. So I don't know if it's considered a scapegoat versus one of the possible rationales for the price increase. So there you go. Scrolling through the comments here. Vox, how you doing, brother? It is good to see you. Scrolling through CGC books will now go up in price as well. That's possible. Anything is possible, brother. At the end of the day, it's all going to be a little bit of a cascade. That wall needs some Conan. Is that DC? Is Conan? Because this is a DC wall. I don't think Conan fits with the motif of the wall. Scrolling through. So I think I have one more video that's going to be coming out this week. And I want to say it is a haul video. I think I'm actually going to show you all the books that showed up here at the house and that I also bought while I was traveling to Arizona. I think that they're really cool books. There's some Silver Age books in there. There's some really awesome modern books that are in there. There's books from my childhood. If I release that video, I think that you guys will enjoy it. Real quick, before we get out of here, I want to encourage you all to go over to comicspriceguide.com when this video wraps up. And they are giving away some really cool prizes for them reaching 1.2 million books in their database. And I want to run down some of the prizes that they're going to be giving away. One of them is a 1-year membership or subscription to comicspriceguide.com. They're going to be giving away a Batman black and white statue, The White Knight, Spider-Man issue #1 from Mr. Todd McFarlane, and also a Spider-Man book that is valued at more than $200. I will not tell you what the book is, but it is a really cool book. All you have to do is head over to comicspriceguide.com. On the homepage, there's going to be a pop-up to sign up for the newsletter. All you do is sign up for the newsletter and you are now in the running for a couple of really awesome prizes. Tomorrow, I'm hearing around lunchtime, they're going to send out a survey to people that are signed up for the newsletter. And if you complete the survey, they are going to give away a bonus gift or prize to one lucky person that completes the survey. So you have a couple of shots on goal simply for signing up for a newsletter. Huge shout out to comicspriceguide.com for giving me a chance to share this information with you guys. All right. With that said, we're going to wrap this thing up. I want to thank you all for hanging out with me. Shout out to all of the Patreon members that continue to support the channel. Huge shout out to the Blue Wrenches that continue to keep me honest and to keep us all on track when it comes to these live streams. I absolutely appreciate each and every one of you that is watching this right now. And I want to, again, thank those folks that are opting to hit the thumbs up button because it is all good for the algorithm. If you need to reach out to me, feel free to do so on Instagram at Regie Collects. Take care.
Straight off meditation, we was concaving until we had that eternal dialogue that created our dialect. Now we in distinct rooms with pure souls having them conversations. Synergy and combinations. You flying, we waiting. Indian style in the gold temple of greatness. When you follow the North Star, you coming for the education. This is my audio book. These rhymes are just the imagery. More like an audiographic novel or a memoir about a young MC making timeless music with his mentor. I pray I grasp my letters. Nothing was meant to last forever.